Hello, my name is Christina Jacobowski, and this is my World Problems History 1010 final exam assignment. Objective 3.1. Explain how historical and/or philosophical investigation of human experience reveals multiple views of the human condition. The definition of the human condition is the state or condition of being human, especially regarded as being inherently problematic or flawed. An article from The Great Decisions by the Foreign Policy Association that best represents this is Refugees and Global Migration. Some migrants are forced to move because they didn't have a choice due to the violence or physical destruction to their families. However, some migrants make a voluntary decision to move based on work, economic reasons, education, health reasons, or for family reasons. Every state has its own laws and policies regarding who is permitted to cross the border and how to do so. For every state, a refugee begins as an asylum seeker who seeks asylum based on the basis of having fled their own country because of either race, religion, or membership in a particular social or political group. The asylum seeker must formally apply to the government of the destination country and go through the refugee status determination process, which can take up to a couple months to years depending on each country. I believe every country needs to have a strong or stronger policy in place to ensure that immigrants are not coming to the country illegally or sneaking through other countries illegally. This conflict started in the mid-20th century with issues including the borders, security, water rights, control of Jerusalem, Israel's settlements, and the Palestinian right of return. The violence of this conflict has caused religious interest worldwide and has been the major discussion of numerous international conferences dealing with historic rights, security issues, and human rights. Objective 3.2. Describe international problems, achievements, and aspirations of the United States and other nations and cultures. So first we need to discuss what is international. International is the existing, occurring, or which carries in between nations. Aspiration is the hope or ambition of achieving something. So an article from The Great Decisions that best represents this would be Decoding the United States and China Trade. This article describes the international problems, achievements, and aspirations of the United States and China. Spending in the United States is primarily driven by consumers, while China remains driven by sustained massive government investment. GDP figures in China are misleading because they are easily fabricated. Each province in China contains its own bureau, which has the task of measuring the GDP. The total GDP of the province is greater than the GDP of the whole country, which does not make sense and defies the laws of math. China contains 20% of the world's population. However, only 8% of the land is sustainable for growing crops. Each year, China's land is decreasing because of the deforestation and desertification in China. China is also facing polluted cities, poisoned land, and many cities do not have running water. Some people believe that tariffs are justified in combating trade abuses in China. However, these tariffs are hurting more jobs than protecting the American workers. Pursuing a trade war with tariffs would not work because China will turn to other countries as a source for goods, which would eliminate the United States out of future possibilities. Another example of the international problems, achievements, and aspirations of the United States includes Trump's Mexico and Canada trade deal. President Donald Trump is under growing pressure to remove tariffs on aluminum and steel as the White House pushes for approval of a massive new trade deal with Mexico and Canada. The United States-Mexico trade agreement would be approved by all three countries, but leaders in Mexico and Canada say they don't see a path moving forward while the tariffs are in effect. Also, congressional Democrats and some other labor groups are demanding other changes occur first before the agreement can be approved. For example, they want a mechanism in place to enforce the new labor rules that Mexico is required to adopt under the new trade deal, which protects workers' rights. Objective 3.3. Evaluate the effects of global interconnectedness on individuals, communities, businesses, and societies. What is interconnectedness? Interconnectedness is the state of being connected with each other. A 2017 Chatham House survey found that in 8 of 10 European countries, majorities oppose immigration from Muslim countries. Opposition to mass immigration is not always the direct result of racism. Sweden is a great example of how not to handle these immigration issues. For example, in 2013, Sweden accepted more than twice as many migrants per capita as any other country in the world. Unfortunately, many of these migrants have been involved in crimes in Sweden, including gang violence, sexual assault, attacks, and bombings. These European countries need to work together to create a fair system to help their citizens and protect the community, businesses, and society. Another topic is what the United States contributes to other countries. The United States provides way more assistance than any other country in the world. The United States controls at least half the global market in terms of arms sales. The U.S. sells arms to nations that surround its main adversaries, including China and Russia, as well as other countries playing active roles in the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, which includes most of the Gulf states. However, the United States gives less than a percentage of its gross national income than other countries. According to the 2015 OECD statistics, the United States contributes only about 0.17% of its gross national income. Objective 3.4. Participate actively and productively as a team member and leader in a chosen area of community service for the common good. So the common good is the benefit or interests of all people. I have contributed to my community by completing in community service. I used to volunteer at a couple adoption shelters for dogs and cats. I have a strong passion for animals, and I love the reward of bonding with them to make them happy, and so they are able to get out of their cages and play. This helps the community and interests of people because volunteers help work with the animals so they can be adopted. They learn some training skills and learn basic human interaction skills, which will help them when they find a loving family. Objective 3.5. Develop a value for responsible citizenship and civic engagement. What is civic engagement? Civic engagement is working to make a difference in the civic life of our communities and developing the combination of knowledge, skills, and values and motivation to make the difference. People can become civically engaged in many ways, either as individuals or as members of a group. One important way to make a difference is by voting. Voting is a fundamental way to engage with the government. The purpose of voting is to ensure that the government serves the people and not the other way around. Citizens research and familiarize themselves with the most important issues regarding the country, and they decide which candidates have the best ideas to resolve these issues. Citizens vote for the candidates they believe will best be suited for the job, and they may join others to raise funds or campaign for those who they support. Through these efforts, engaged citizens let their representatives know what they want and what influences the policies. Only then can a government actions accurately reflect interests and concerns of their people. In conclusion, I have learned a lot this semester, and I will use this information as I continue to grow and teach others. I learned more about the world's trade system, as well as more information regarding our President, Donald Trump.